We just finished up some strength and conditioning, bro. It's Tuesday. Man, UFC 300s this weekend. Fucking sick card, bro. Let's go through some of these fights. Dude, it's crazy, bro. They're starting the night off with Cody Garbrandt and Deiveson Figueiredo. See, I'm kind of tossed up with this fight because I think that Cody's biggest blessing and curse is, I guess, like how hot-headed he is. He fights very emotionally, has crazy big power, and he's fighting now somebody that's coming up from a smaller division. So they're going to be able to withstand a little bit more of the power, I think. And I think that Deiveson's going to present a lot of problems to him that I'm not sure if Cody is going to be able to handle, especially if he gets involved in an emotional fight. I think Deiveson does a great job at pulling guys into like a brawling style fight, and I don't think that's going to favor Cody in this matchup only because of Deiveson coming up. So I'm going to go with Deiveson via knockout. My heart's with Cody. I hope Cody wins, but I don't know, man. I think Deiveson gets it done. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller, bro. Couple of GOATs coming up, UFC 300. I think Jim Miller fought at UFC 100 and UFC 200, bro. Yep. And he's fighting at 300. It's crazy the longevity this guy has. And he's not really like falling down in his career. He's hanging out and still performing at a top level, which is insane. But unfortunately, at UFC 300, he has to fight Bobby Green, and I don't think it's going to be good for him. I think Bobby Green is going to be too loose and too elusive on his feet. I think Jim Miller is very good when he has like a traditional style of fighter in front of him, but Bobby Green has like the what's that stat that he has? His fighting style is called like hood, and that's the exact style that Bobby has. I think Bobby's gonna have his hands down, throwing his jabs at awkward angles coming up, and I think he's gonna finish Jim Miller within 3, unfortunately. Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Bro, that's a sick fight. Marina has nasty Muay Thai, and Jessica Andrade throws bombs. Unfortunately, I think with the way that Marina fights and her style of fighting and how she uses her range so well, I think that's going to be the key to victory here for her. Jessica Andrade is the shorter fighter and kind of like pit bulls herself in, throwing big hooks and things like that. And Marina has very good straight shots up the middle. She has an insane clinch game. I think Jessica Andrade's path to victory is by knockout, and not many females have that crazy knockout power, but she is one of them. But I don't think she's going to be able to find Marina's chin. I think Marina's going to be able to keep her at the end of her punches through the whole fight. I would be surprised if she finishes Andrade, but I think she's going to get the win. Marina Rodriguez. Jalen Turner versus Money Moicano. Bro, I'm really pulling for Money Moicano. I love this dude. I think he's awesome. I think he's hilarious. And I think if we can give him the mic in center of UFC 300, I think he makes a lot of noise for himself. But he's fighting the tarantula. Jalen Turner, super long. This dude is 6'3" at 155 pounds, and he fights like that too. Nasty knees up the middle, straight punches, just super hard to deal with. Controls the range really well. And Money Moicano is nasty. Pretty much he's very well rounded. Really good boxing, really good kickboxing, really good jiu-jitsu, really good wrestling. But I think the massive height disadvantage for Moicano is going to be. It's going to be a hard time for him. It's going to be hard for him to deal with. I think Jalen does really well at really keeping guys at the end of the punches and throwing things straight up the middle. And I don't think Moicano's going to be able to time it. I think Moicano might have a strength advantage, but I think in terms of like I just think anatomy's on Jalen Turner's side. I think that the height and range is going to win him this fight. I don't think he's going to finish Moicano, but I think Jalen Turner's going to win. Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez. This is a big fight, man. Sadiq's last fight was that 5-round fight versus Edson Barboza. So we know that he's tough, he's durable as fuck. He was beating Edson for what, 2 of the 5 rounds, and then he was just kind of getting beat up as the fight was going. Diego Lopez kind of came hot in the scene, had that last-minute fight against Mosfar, and he kind of shocked the world, right? He came out, he didn't win the fight, but he performed at a crazy level. And had a really good performance against somebody who is like an endless gas tank cardio machine, and this is coming up last minute. I think Diego's going to win this fight. This is a 3-round fight, and I think Sadiq Youssef, he's really good at controlling the kickboxing range and things like that. But I think Diego, and I believe Diego's going to have a height and reach advantage. I think Diego does a really good job of inflicting the way that he wants the fight to go. And I don't think that's going to be good for Sadiq Youssef. I think Diego has a massive advantage on the ground. I think Sadiq probably has a slight advantage on the feet, but nothing notable. And I think that Diego is going to want to get the fight to the ground as fast as he can get. And I think he's going to get the submission probably in the second or third round. Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. This is a big fight for the women's 135-pound division. Everyone's been talking about Kayla Harrison getting to the UFC. Now's her chance. This fight, though, I really like this fight because of how Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey went. So Holly Holm had that big fight against Ronda Rousey. Everyone counted her out, and she had to really fight on her back foot, and she landed that crazy head kick in Australia. That was like, what, 8 years ago or 10 years ago, something crazy like that. I think that Ronda was probably a little bit more of the developed fighter. I think that Kayla Harrison is nasty. I love everything that she stands for. I think she has amazing wrestling and amazing control on the ground, amazing jiu-jitsu. But I think Holly Holm does very, very well at just skating around the octagon and making girls just chase her. I don't think that Kayla Harrison is going to be able to track her down, but all it's going to take is one. But based on Holly's track record, man, I like her in this fight. I like how she controls the distance so well. I like how she stays on the bike the whole entire fight and doesn't allow fighters to get close to her. I think Holly Holm is going to have a similar outcome to the Ronda Rousey fight. I don't think it's going to be a crazy knockout head kick, surprising and shocking the world like it was against Ronda. But I like Holly Holm via KO or TKO sometime in the fight, unfortunately. But I do hope Kayla Harrison wins. Big one coming up, Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. This is a big one for Aljamain's first fight at 145, Calvin being a Boston guy. This is an interesting fight, man. You could say it's a striker versus wrestler or a striker versus grappler matchup, but it's not really like that. Like, Aljamain has his funky grappling style, and Calvin doesn't get enough credit for his crazy wrestling defense. Calvin doesn't look like the most athletic guy when he's fighting, but his wrestling defense and his way to scramble and just kind of keep the fight where he wants to keep it is insane. Super tough, super durable, crazy boxing. He hasn't had. I mean, you look at his fight versus Max Holloway. It wasn't really like the best fight, but it's hard to get that guy out of there. He's not just gonna bend down and get out of there. Aljamain, he's very, very vocal about dealing with this neck injury. I think that's going to impact the amount of times that he's going to be able to engage in the takedowns, especially when you're engaging with somebody who's a big 45er, has heavy hips, and great takedown defense. I like Calvin Kattar in this fight. I think Calvin Kattar is going to be sitting on his jab for 3 rounds and just picking Aljamain apart. I think a late finish is probably what's going to happen for Calvin. I like Calvin in this fight. Let's go, Calvin.
I don't have to pop on.
Don't wait for it to constant. That's a constant. Jab with him, man. Jab with him. You take it, jabbing. Good. Jabbing. Stab. Dude, if you're gonna go southpaw, you jab and a right hook. Oh my God! That was a one punch. One punch. That's right. No, right on the toe. On your toe. Don't let him get inside like that, man. You gotta stay away from the jab. Get there, stay there. Go stab straight punches. Stab straight punches. Stab straight punches. Very basic. If he's coming, so you can jab him back up and then straight 1-2. Come on. Come on.
All right, bro, just finished up a session of some CTE. Some good boxing sparring rounds, bro. Nothing like getting your brain rattled on Tuesday. But yeah, let's get to this main card, bro. UFC 300, the first fight of the main card, bro. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Let's take a look at these odds. Nickel's at minus 2100. I think that fight's just gonna look just about that. Bo Nickel's gonna go in and just take him down and finish him, I think, within the first round. If I'm a betting man, though, I'm gonna throw a little bit of money on Cody Brundage just because of how heavy of a dog he is. But I just don't see a clear path to victory unless he catches like a Hail Mary knockout or a guillotine when Bo's shooting in. But I think Bo's just too developed. It's a layup fight. It's a lock. Bo Nickel, done. Next fight of the night, UFC 300, second fight on the main card. Nasty fight. Charlie Olives versus Arman Tsarukyan. Oliveira versus Tsarukyan, bro. I like Oliveira in this fight. A lot of people are counting Oliveira out and saying Tsarukyan's like the next one. And I'm just not really buying that, bro. I think that Oliveira's way too good. He's too experienced. I think he's seen it all. I think Arman's nasty. I think Arman's definitely going to be a future contender. But I just don't think this weekend's going to be the night that he's going to really crack into that contention area. And, you know, we have all this confusion right now with Islam and when he's fighting, this, that, the other thing. And the winner of this fight could for sure be the next one or get like a November pay-per-view card at Madison Square for the winner of Islam and Dustin if that comes to fruition. But I think Charlie Olives is, I like Charlie Olives in this fight. Charlie Oliveira by decision. The BMF belt, bro. I'm fired up for this one. Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Holloway's known for like this unbeatable, unmatchable toughness. Can't get him out of there. He's never been knocked down. Too tough, this, that, the other thing. But then there's Justin Gaethje, who's like the king of violence at this weight class. I think it's a really, really hard fight, and it's going to be a battle of, I think if Max can establish that jab right away and control that distance, then I think he's going to be okay. I think that Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are going to be super effective, but I don't think they're going to be effective as effective as everybody thinks, right? Because you have to remember, Max Holloway prepared for a 5-round fight against Jose Aldo, who's one of the best leg kickers to ever grace the octagon. And I think Justin Gaethje is a nasty leg kicker because how hard he is, not necessarily because how he sets them up or anything like that. This is either going to be a doctor stoppage by Justin Gaethje or it's going to be a decision win by Max. I'm leaning towards Max, but this is a pick'em fight for me. Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. I think that's how you pronounce the name, and excuse me if it's not, but this fight, dude, this fight's sick, bro. UFC strawweight women. Bro, this is a nasty fight, a battle between two nasty Chinese women. Both nasty on the feet, just savages, crazy power, speed. I think Yan Xiaonan is probably a little bit longer and definitely fights a little bit longer, but I think that Zhang Weili is the more like technical, disciplined fighter, and I think that championship experience is going to carry her through this fight, and I think she's going to win. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a late fight finish for Zhang Weili, but either way, I think Zhang Weili and still main event, Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Dude, this I think is another one of those pick'em style fights, right? Because Alex Pereira has that nasty kickboxing, but he's always right there with you, and I think that Jamal Hill, if you've been seeing any of his social media stuff, he's being extremely vocal about the disrespect that he feels like he's getting with the feet, and he's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna stand and bang with this guy. And that's a very dangerous mindset to go into a fight with, right? Because that could work out great or it could work out terribly. And I think with this fight that Jamal Hill probably has more ways to win. I think that Alex Pereira is probably the more polished kickboxer, but I think Jamal Hill has more ways to win. I think Jamal Hill can control where the fight's taking place, whether it's on the ground or on the feet, and I think that's gonna pay massive dividend. With that being said, and still for Alex Pereira.